Hello there, you're with me, Reginda Hans, on tvsarawak.com. Let's start with the headlines. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Adnan Satim visited Dongfang Electric Corporation Exhibition Hall in China. Chief Minister Tan Sri Adnan Satim said that our love for country is not just about waving national flag, but showing love, respect and using the national language as well. Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof stressed that the MySESM aimed to encourage industry players to opt for the best practices towards delivering cost-effective civil engineering projects. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Adnan Satim was taken on a tour of the Dongfang Electric Corporation Exhibition Hall at its headquarters and manufacturing facilities near the city of Chengdu in the Sichuan province of China. Tan Sri Adnan, who arrived in Chengdu on Monday for a 4-day working visit, was accompanied by his wife, Datin Patinggi Datuk Jamilah Anu, Minister of Land Development Tan Sri Datuk Amar Dr. James Masing, and Minister of Industrial Development Datuk Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan. The Chief Minister's visit to Dongfang Electric Corporation was meant to gather first-hand information on the company's hydroelectric turbine manufacturing activities. Bahasa Melayu as the national language has become a pillar of strength to unite the diversified religious and ethnic groups in the country. Thus, Malaysians have to maintain what they have and appreciate it. Chief Minister Tan Sri Adnan Satim recommended such wire text speech, which was read by Housing Minister Datuk Amar Abang Haji Johari Tun Abang Haji Oping at the opening of the State-Level National Language Month 2014 at the Civic Centre. He said that our love for our country is not just about waving national flag, but showing love, respect and using the national language as well. Thus, the use of Bahasa Malaysia must be practiced so that it does not fade away. He added that patriotism is fading away in the modern world, where people are more prone to chase after development, leading to incidences where people do not even respect national anthem. Thus, the government will continue to provide strong support to every effort to consolidate and strengthen the identity and image of true Malaysians through the national language. In order to strengthen usage of the national language, Tan Sri Adnan said the state government would work closely with the federal government, particularly Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. He believes that with sense of attachment and love towards Bahasa Malaysia, the language can excel at the international level. He requested local authorities to review and monitor signage under their respective supervision.
Nada datang membawa kesegaran dengan angin dari tanah lain.
Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof has called for stakeholders in the construction industry to adopt the Malaysian Civil Engineering Standard Method of Measurement to enhance professionalism and project delivery. He said the MySESM, launched by Construction Industry Development Board in 2011, was to replace the Malaysian Standard Method for measurement of civil engineering construction to cover a wider range of civil engineering works. He stressed that the MySESM aimed to encourage industry players to opt for the best practices towards delivering cost-effective civil engineering projects to strengthen the competitive edge of the local construction industry. Datuk Seri Fadilah explained that MySESM requires the preparation of the bills of quantities, which can help eliminate discrepancies and ambiguities and thus facilitate construction costs. He also added that MySESM also plays a strategic role in facilitating better understanding of the nature of works to be done and therefore reduces disputes so as to make sure projects can be awarded through an objective manner. Datuk Seri Fadilah urged JKR and their counterparts nationwide to set an example for industry players by adopting the My SESM from next year, which he hoped would be adopted by the private sector to enhance productivity. He also said that he is confident that Malaysia's construction industry will still grow at a two-digit figure this year. He said for the first 6 months of the year, the industry registered a growth of 14.3%, while last year it grew by 10.9%. Datuk Seri Fadilah explained that in terms of value, the total construction projects last year came to 124 billion ringgit, out of which 100 billion ringgit or 81% were carried out by the private sector. The Department of Agriculture has given full support to its researchers, especially the younger ones, to pursue postgraduate degree courses as part of its capacity building to meet the challenges of modernization and commercialization of agriculture in Sarawak. State Agriculture Director Datuk Lai Kui Fong said researchers were the brains needed to spearhead the development of the agriculture sector. He assured that researchers will have all the support from the department with the condition that the research they undertake is relevant and will benefit Sarawak. According to Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, Pan-Borneo Highway, now under the Public-Private Partnership Unit, is an initiative to speed up the implementation of the said project, which aims at upgrading the present trunk road into dual carriageway from Sematan all the way up to Serudong, Sabah. He did not mention when the Pan-Borneo Highway project would commence, but said the cost was reviewed from the estimated 22 billion ringgit in 2010 to 27 billion ringgit as announced in Budget 2015. He pointed out the initial cost estimation of 22 billion ringgit was based on the Highway Network Development Plan published in 2010, provided to the Parliament by the Works Ministry in 2013. Datuk Seri Fadilah said the cost was later estimated at 27 billion ringgit because the Prime Minister was more committed to implementing the project sooner rather than later. The 9th Asian Pacific Orthodontic Congress and 20th Malaysian Association of Orthodontists International Scientific Conference and Trade Exhibition, which is organized by the Malaysian Association of Orthodontists, is held in Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching from 17 to 20th October 2014 with the theme of the conference, Embracing Orthodontic Discovery. Housing Minister Dato' Amar Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari said that he is deeply touched by the Malaysian Association of Orthodontists' first community social responsibility project, the Layla Tribe Smile of Hope project, which carries with deep affection of the name Datuk Patinggi Dr. Hajah Laila Taib, the late wife of His Excellency, the Governor of the State of Sarawak, in recognition of her charity work for the underprivileged in the Sarawak has helped given beautiful smiles to those less privileged. The scientific program has been designed to explore the evidence behind the current various orthodontic treatment modalities and will prove to be an informative and interesting one.
I am deeply touched with the MAO's first community social responsibility project, the Layla Taib Smile of Hope project, which carries with deep affection the name of Datuk Patinggi Dr. Hajah Laila Taib, the late wife of His Excellency the Governor of the State of Sarawak, in recognition of her charity work for the underprivileged in Sarawak, and has helped give beautiful smile to those less privileged.
on to the Malaysian news. The inaugural Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management Media Forum, scheduled for October 21st, aims to raise awareness among youths on Commonwealth and its activities. Muhammad Faiz Sanusi, Head of Communications at the Chief Secretary to the Government Office, said the forum, to be held in conjunction with the CAPM's Biennial Conference 2014, could be used as a platform to attract youth participation in Commonwealth-related programs. He said that the forum can create interest among youths to understand CAPM better, share best practices and enhance their networking beyond Malaysia. He added that students, media practitioner and civil servant participation are encouraged to participate. This will be the second time that Malaysia is hosting the CAPM Biennial Conference after 16 years since former Chief Secretary to the government Tun Ahmad Sarchi Abdul Ahmed became CAPM President from 1996 to 1998. The three-day conference from October 19 marks CAPM's 20th anniversary. Malaysia is keen to push for talks on free trade agreement with the European Union. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak said Malaysia was a strong proponent of free trade and is actively pursuing FTAs with a number of countries, including European Free Trade Association countries. Datuk Seri Najib said Malaysia was also actively pursuing the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. He told the Forum for Sustained Economic Growth and Job Creation both regionally and globally, Asia and Europe were required to work together. He added that both regions require sustainable economic growth and development and financial stability, and the economic partnerships that expanded trade and investment were crucial to achieve it. Datuk Seri Najib said European firms remained vital to Asian growth and development. He said EU companies had invested over $17 billion in Malaysia. Datuk Seri Najib said Malaysia would continue to champion the principles of good governance, transparency and regulatory reforms at home and within ASEAN. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Abdul Wahid Omar, said the government's debt to gross domestic product ratio, with the inclusion of the contingent liabilities of 15%, does not exceed 70%, and Malaysia is moving into the safe zone. In the 2015 budget tabled last week, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak revealed that the country's fiscal deficit declined from 6.7% in 2009 to 3.9% in 2013 and is expected to reduce further to 3.5% of GDP in 2014. For 2015, economic growth is expected to remain strong at 5% to 6%, while the fiscal deficit is projected to further decline to 3% of GDP. It is believed that the recent rationalization of fuel subsidies, which has resulted in a 20-cent per litre increase in the prices of RON 95 and diesel, is expected to help the government save up to 1.3 billion ringgit this year and 10 billion ringgit next year, and trim the country's fiscal deficit to GDP ratio further to 3.5% in 2014 and 3% next year. The government debt to GDP ratio currently stands at 52.8%, down from 54.7% in 2013, a continuous improvement compared with only 32% before the 1997-1998 Asian financial crisis. The Rural and Regional Development Ministry will ensure the allocations provided under Budget 2015 are used for the benefit of the people and to spearhead the economic development of rural folk, especially in Sabah and Sarawak. Its Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Shafi'i Abdal said it was the ministry's responsibility to ensure the budget reached the target groups. He said that the ministry will monitor the budget closely using the database which has been created in the ministry so as to avoid wastage. During the tabling of the budget 2015 on Friday, the ministry was allocated 4.5 billion ringgit compared to 4.1 billion ringgit for 2014. Datuk Seri Muhammad Shafi'i said even through the granting of the projects were through the open tender system, the ministry would still monitor them to ensure that only qualified companies were given the projects.
Oleh kerana hakikatnya benda tu dalam peruntukan sedia ada yang kita dah sediakan. Umpama kita buat jalan, umpama dia menteri besar, memang ada peruntukan untuk membela rakyat, membantu rakyat. Pilihan raya tak pilihan raya sama aja. Takkan musim pilihan raya kerajaan stop, tak boleh bergerak. Api tak boleh jalan, rumah tak boleh baik pulih, rakyat tak boleh bagi bantuan, rakyat nak makan.
Moving on to the global front. World leaders declared the Ebola outbreak the worst global health emergency in years, as President Barack Obama vowed a much more aggressive response to the spreading virus, which has killed nearly 4,500 people. US President Barack Obama on Wednesday called on the world to do more, while insisting his own country would be much more aggressive in its response after a second Texas hospital worker tested positive. The fact that the newly infected Dallas caregiver took a domestic flight a day before she was quarantined magnified global fears about air travel, concerns Obama tried to tamp down after national crisis talks. Obama called his counterparts from Britain, France, Germany and Italy to better coordinate their plan to combat the outbreak. Obama urged British Prime Minister Cameron, Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel, France President François Hollande and Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi to make a more significant contribution to the fight. European Union health ministers are to meet in Brussels today, with member states under pressure to follow Washington in sending troops to West Africa to help fight the virus. The United Nations Security Council urged the international community to accelerate and dramatically expand aid to the West African countries battling the epidemic. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte has met Russian President Vladimir Putin to demand maximum cooperation in the probe into doomed Malaysia flight MH17. Dutch media said Rutte spoke to Putin on the sidelines at the high-level Asia-Europe summit, which opened on Thursday in Milan. 4 Dutch experts on Monday returned to the crash site in pro-Moscow rebel-held territory in eastern Ukraine, but Dutch officials, including Rutte, have lamented the lack of proper access to the wreck site. Dutch forensics experts called off their search of the area in early August because of the ongoing fighting between Kiev and pro-Russian separatists. A fragile truce has been agreed in the area, with Ukrainian and Russian officials trying to shore up the ceasefire. The findings of an initial report by a Dutch-led team of air crash investigators appear to back up claims that flight MH17 was hit by an anti-aircraft missile. Hong Kong's embattled leader made a dramatic U-turn yesterday, reopening his offer of talks with student protesters a week after the government abruptly pulled out a discussion aimed at ending more than a fortnight of mass democracy rallies. The offer by Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying came a day after video footage of plainclothes officers beating a handcuffed demonstrator as he lay on the ground sparked widespread anger. Question marks remain whether fresh talks can make any substantive headway in the stalemate between the government and protesters. Leung warned that Beijing had no intention of rescinding its insistence that his successor be vetted by a loyalist committee before standing for election in 2017, a core demand of protesters. City authorities abruptly pulled out of talks with the Hong Kong Federation of Students, one of the groups leading the ongoing protests, last Thursday, plunging into city a political stalemate it shows little sign of emerging from. The offer of new talks came after a 2-day spike in violence between police and protesters as they battled over a series of barricades near the government's besieged headquarters. Tensions soared after the video showing police beating a handcuffed activist went viral Wednesday, with protesters saying they had lost all faith in the police despite the accused officers being removed but not suspended from current duties. That wraps up the news for today. I'm Regina Hans. Thank you for watching tvsrock.com. Have a great weekend.